AITA for rejecting my Phil's offer to walk me down the aisle and insisting my sister will be doing it. This is a dispute my fiancé 26M and I 25F are having with his parents. A few months ago his dad offered to walk me down the aisle, even though he and my fiancé's mom knew I had already asked my sister to do it. At first I thought it was sweet because they explained it as my sister could be my bridesmaid or matron of honor, but I explained my sister wanted to and I wanted her to as well. But they have not let it go, and now they're offended that I refused the offer. Context on why my sister she raised me and our siblings. She's the oldest and was parentified when she was way too young. She was our savior. She was our everything. I love her more than I can express. She gave up a childhood and her young adult life for us. And she did an awesome job for a kid, but it was really unfair. It changed our relationship forever. We will never have a typical sibling relationship, and I respect her the way I would respect my parents if they were good parents and people. My sister never should have been put in the position she was. She never deserved to have her childhood taken away, or most of her 20s. It wasn't right, but it was our reality. The two of us are especially close, and I have always tried to honor her for everything, while also having a more mutual give and take relationship as adults. But moments like this, for us, are when she deserves to shine and have a spotlight on her for doing what she did for me, us. Nobody in my life deserves this honor more. And it wouldn't be anywhere near as meaningful with anyone else. She gets an extra special role in the wedding, and some details are being figured out still. But this is something that we're doing. She might only be 10 years older than me, but she has been the best parent and sister and friend anyone could ask for. My fiancé understands this perfectly and has been on my side. He has spoken to his parents to get them to stop. But they have made it clear they feel I am rejecting Phil and saying he's not good enough. They feel like I should be looking to them more as parental figures because I don't have the traditional ones myself. I don't. But I have my sister, and she's the person responsible for who I am today. I know they take issue with a woman so close in age to me doing what is typically the role of a parent. I know it's kind to offer to do it, so I ask, because this has created so much drama, AITA for rejecting Phil's offer? First comment, if they set boundaries now and give actual consequences for violating those boundaries, there is a chance they will learn. But just asking them to stop clearly isn't enough. They obviously view you as a child, so it needs to be made abundantly clear to them that they are not and never will be your parents. It needs to be made abundantly clear to them that you are a grown-ass woman and neither require nor desire parenting at this stage of the game. You respect them as your fiancé's parents, but the two of you are adults and will be making all decisions concerning your wedding and your marriage. If your fiancé is completely on your side, you can have a great marriage in spite of their attempts at interference and manipulation, because this is likely going to be a pattern. And God help you when you have kids, because they will be all up in your business. If you want a chance at a decent relationship with these people who refuse to accept your no and are hell-bent on making something that should be entirely about you about them instead, your fiancé needs to have one calm, firm conversation with them and lay out a firm boundary and inform them of the consequences if they ignore the boundary. Then the most critical part is following through when they overstep again, because they likely will. The conversation needs to be something like, "Mom, Dad, this is our wedding. Op and I will make all of the decisions ourselves. In the case of who walks Op down the aisle, that is 1000% her decision, and that decision has been made. You think her choice is somehow disrespectful to Dad. It has nothing to do with Dad, and your behavior is completely disrespectful to Op. I have already asked you to stop, but you have not. I am going to tell you one time very clearly, so there are no misunderstandings, that Op is going to be my wife, and as such, she has my full support, always. When you disrespect her, you damage your relationship with me. So I am not asking you, I am telling you, the topic of who is walking Op down the aisle is closed. There will be no more comments, suggestions, or guilt trips. If this comes up again, I will take that to mean you aren't willing to have a relationship with your adult son and his wife, but are only interested in maintaining control. If that is the case, not only will Dad still not walk Op down the aisle, the two of you will not be at our wedding at all. So you need to decide whether it's more important to you to have a good relationship with us or to be in control. The first option is available to you. The second is not, no matter how hard you push. Second comment, NTA. Fiancé needs to have a very frank conversation with his dad about that position is already filled, with your parent no less, and was already filled before Phil asked. Phil is not being rejected, he's being told no, and there's a big difference. And even family needs to understand that no means no. It's not your or your fiancé's job to manage whatever I suspect at least partially is ism-based. because he doesn't seem to want to acknowledge respect that a woman has already been offered and accepted that role, and so it's not vacant, and he isn't entitled to some kind of dibs over a woman but hurt feelings he might have about not getting his way. This discussion is the last discussion we're all having on the topic. The decision is final, and there's nothing more to discuss. Any further attempts to discuss this topic will be considered harassment and will result in you guys ending the visit hanging up. Third comment, NTA you may have issues with in-laws, but it sounds like their son is in your corner. I would send this text. Mill and Phil, while I appreciate the gesture of offering to walk me down the aisle, I stated when he asked that I had already asked my sister, and that was going to be the plan. It was in no way to offend you as my future in-laws. But when I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around is the fact that you won't drop and you keep pushing for it when I have already clearly stated that I would like my sister to walk with me down the aisle. This has nothing to do with you. I don't know if it's because you are ashamed of optics of those in the crowd or what, but that's a you problem. What's happening here now is that I'm feeling like you are creating a huge problem where there doesn't need to be one. And it's honestly making me lose respect for you. This is not how I wanted my marriage to enter to your son. He has my back completely, one of the many reasons I have chosen to spend the rest of my life with him. And that being part of your family. But what I'm not going to tolerate is my boundaries being pushed because you two seem to need to control things. This 60-second walk has a whole lot of meaning for me, and I plan on doing it the way I have always envisioned, which is with the person who sacrificed their life so I could have one, and that's my sister. So you need to back off this, or we are going to be starting this in-law relationship on a very bad foot. Fourth comment, NTA, first and foremost. And I agree with the comments about motive and boundaries. That being said, I'm wondering if aisles have been a part of your life prior to reaching adulthood. You hear wonderfully romantic stories about the boy next door, that it occurred to me that you may have something similar and spent many a day at their house as a child. If that's the case, then I kind of see where they might be coming from, that they provided a safe space for you and wanting that acknowledged. In which case I think you can address it and find another way, and everyone will be happy. In the far more likely situation, where you met them through BF after adulthood, that's just bizarre. Maybe the answer is, but you did such a wonderful job raising fiancé, I don't want to take away from that being acknowledged. I know. Let's both be walked down the aisle. The whole giving from one family to the other is so antiquated. Let's make it giving to both families. You walk your son down the aisle and my sister will then walk me down the aisle, and while you are at it, scrub out the who gives this language from the ceremony. Skip it or replace it with something like who presents the bride to the community in witness of her commitment to fiancé.